Lockstar family. How are you doing? It is the Lock Lady back with you. So I am here. I have showed up. I am super, super happy to be here. But I'm gonna go ahead and wait. I'm gonna try to wait to get a few of you in here. In the meantime, let me just do a check. I got my handy dandy notes with me. I got the water on deck, the tea, the drinks, whatever it is y'all got, okay? And if you come in, okay, make sure you go ahead and check in the comments. Say hi, say hello. And also, if you can, just do a thumbs up for your girl. Okay, y'all already know about the algorithms and all that other kind of stuff. So we know how all that go. Let me do a sip of water, guys. I am hot. Everybody who is supposed to be in here will be in here. And I appreciate all of you guys for coming back. If you are my Sisterlock family, my crew, thank you for always coming back and showing up for your girl. And if you are new here, thank you for hopefully joining the Lockstar family. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to end up talking about just like what the title says, keeping up, getting my momentum back, after setbacks, after challenges, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to be going ahead and talking about that. And I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes because I just want to make sure my folks are in, and y'all probably getting used to me being back like more consistently. Sorry I couldn't come back to you guys last week, Sunday. And we're going to talk about that because that's what me getting myself back settled, like ever since, that I don't have my old job anymore, right? So we're going to talk about that, all right? So we're going to give me a little moment, and I have a question for my lock stars, as a matter of fact, too. So I have a question to ask, and it's related to what we're going to be talking about tonight, all right? So let me see. Let me make sure I got everything here. All right. Got my little notes, all of that good stuff. Okay, so we're good. And if anybody, another thing too, if anybody hears, because I got a little bit of music playing in the background, I just want to make sure that it's not too loud because I don't want to get copyrighted because I already had that on a couple of my um of my video. So I definitely don't want that here. So if you hear it, please let me know. And like I said, when you come into the chat, guys, give it a thumbs up when you come into the chat, okay? All right, so what is it? Okay, it's 6:35 and I wanted to be on here by 6. So in the future, I'm gonna say between 6 and 7 p.m. only because this is a part of me keeping this momentum up, guys. Only other people who are content creators on here really understand that, especially when you go through different ups and downs and challenges. It's actually difficult to get yourself revved back up to come back up on here. Trust me, if you're one of those type of folks that understand, you, if you know, you know. Believe me. So it's not always easy to kind of rev yourself up, but this is me being like fighting against that urge to be like, oh, you know what? Because of this and that, I'm not gonna come off. So we're not doing none of that. We're not doing none of that. So I'm here, not at 6, but I got here. So I'm patting myself on the back because I know how hard it is, okay? So the question that I am posing, guys, all my lock stars, anybody who's new, and thank you for the new people who joined the family. I did see you guys, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Could have been, just like Jay-Z said, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here. So thank you for that. I appreciate that, guys. I'm gonna give y'all some love. Give y'all some love, some hearts for that. So thank you for being a part of my family. Okay. So in this short live, we're gonna be talking about, building my momentum back after setbacks, staying consistent, with my goals. Okay. I'm gonna try to go ahead and do that. We're gonna be talking about, okay, where did I go on? Where did I let me see. Look at my other, oh, wellness and mindset thoughts on current trends in the lock community. Okay, we're gonna be talking about that. I have a couple of articles and some blogs I want to hit you guys to that have some information on there. And the main thing that I don't think I ever spoke about on here before was, the younger voices in Sister Locks, because on one of the articles they like kind of talked about the younger voices on Sister Locks, and I was all like, oh wow, I never really, a lot of times we don't think about their perspective. And when you think about locks and stuff like that, you tend to think of, because a lot of older wearers, like when you think about locks, right? Older wearers are wearing locks. And even though a lot of younger people are wearing them now, like it's been more of a resurgence of younger people wearing locks, but a lot of times we don't, I guess, hear their voices, or like, discuss, how they feel about it and how long they're wearing it and their perspective on keeping it and then changing. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so the question that I am posing, guys, the question I'm posing is, what's one goal you've been trying to stay consistent with lately? What's one goal that you've been trying to stay consistent with lately? And what's been your biggest challenge? Okay, because that's really what it's about right now, currently, with me, is me being in a space again where things are a look, I wouldn't say, because I'm looking at it in a different way, but it is different. And I guess when you look at it, it is challenging because you have to get back out here and get things rolling again. I gotta get, you gotta, all the things that you had when we have our jobs, everything is situated, right? Because you got your money going, you don't have to worry about your insurances, your health, this, that, all that other kind of stuff, all while trying to stay consistent on this channel that you created. And you have all these people that are counting on you to show up and all that kind of stuff. And I enjoy it. I actually like the channel. I like participating, making videos. And as soon as I can't wait to get back to doing some videos as well. But that is going to be consistent of me saving my ducats to get my phone and my new laptop, which that is coming. But that costs around, let's see, a little over $3,000. So I don't have that just sitting around. So I gotta save up for that. And once I get there, once I save that up, I will be rolling out my videos, because then I'll have like my a lot of my data and stuff, because I'm dealing with erasing stuff off my phone, erasing stuff off my computer to keep all this going. So it's a hassle. But regardless, we gonna get through all that. This is gonna be a nice document. This is gonna be my testimony of how I hung in there through it all and finally have gotten over to the other side. So even when it's like this, guys, you still gotta push through. Okay, so this is a message of pushing through. Okay, even when the times are a little bit tough, guys. So that is a question that to pose, and like, what are you going through today? And I know, let me know if you can relate. You know what I'm saying? When things you thought was going to be one way, it doesn't work out that way, but then you got to actually rebuild again. You got to get back on your feet and you got to start over. And but the one thing that I will say, so the one thing that I will say is, I feel very different in it. Like, it doesn't feel like, I guess maybe this has something to do with maturity. I hope so. But even though when you're doing something, and this is a message I want to give to everybody, okay, because we all will end up going through different things and tough times and setbacks, but just just know, for one, that you will get through it. And then as long as you know you're doing the right thing for you, like if you're doing, like, I know that, you know like, based on the decision that I made, because I left my job, but based on reasons that I felt were good for me. So you have to, as long as you know your why, and you know that it is actually was good for you, the decision you made, despite the stuff that you have to go through to get back on your feet, then you will feel different about your decisions. You will feel, it'll be like, okay, I can go through this. I've learned also to not, like, panic. Like don't even panic when things are like, oh my God, even if you don't know where it's gonna come from or how it's going to resolve itself. That's one thing my grandmother taught me too. Thank you, Janie Bell Brown. My grandmother taught me that too. And that was a very, very good message too, that even if you don't know, just have faith. It's kind of hard to have faith when things are kind of, it's easier said than done. But if you think about it and you think about your life and you be like, I'm here at this time. And you know what? Even though I've gone through hard things, I'm still here and I got through it. So that lets you know that you do get through those things. Okay. So you will get through those things. All right. So basically, what have I been doing? What has been good? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I finally got my retightening done last night. This was long overdue. I have a trip that's actually coming up this week, and I was trying to find a way. I knew I had to get my hair done. I was so tired of reaching in the back of this hair and feeling this afro. So I am so happy that I got it done. I put a few lock loops in it last night. This is very loose, guys. I'm gonna stand up and show the my little retightening. I'm here in this little tight little quarter space. Okay, so I did. Let me put my okay. All right, so I just did it last night. I went on a mission and got it done. Okay. There it is. There it is. And there it is. Okay. So we got the retightening done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So that's one less thing that I have to do before my trip comes up, and that's going to be only in the next 3 to 4 days. I got this trip that I got to do. But anyways, other than that, so what else did we talk about? The trip. What else am I doing? So I am continuing. Thank God. Another thing that I will say, I am very thankful and grateful for the clients that I kept. So that is one thing. Listen, guys, if you're into hair, if you are into hair, if that's something you want to do, if you're passionate about it, right? If you are passionate about this career or this industry, one thing that I will tell you, as long as you have a passion, you will always be able to sustain yourself in a certain way, like no matter what. Like even when I was on the other side of it, even when I wasn't doing the locks and all that kind of stuff and doing the other stuff, I was always able to sustain yourself. So whatever you do, whatever you have a passionate about, make sure you keep that going. This has always sustained me throughout like my life. Like I never knew that this could be as lucrative as it is, but it really is. Even if you can just make a few, you'll sometimes you won't make as much as others, sometimes you will. But the point is that it is really good to have something that you can rely on, and make sure that you have something that you can offer to customers and to people. And then in hair, everybody wants to get their hair done and have their hair looking fly, right? Or looking good. And that's one thing I'm glad that the Lord blessed me with those skills with my hands and stuff. Gotta keep these protected, because I'm telling you, that have came through in the clutch for me on many occasions. So in my moment of setback, that is one of those things that I'm glad that I never gave up, was doing hair and having my clients. And no matter who goes or comes, I've always been able to sustain myself. And that is one thing that I'm super very blessed and grateful for. But one thing is, so how am I challenging, how am I balancing, like, okay, now I'm back out here and got to get back on the grind again, but also staying here to commit myself to showing up on my channel. Well, that takes you to you have to compromise, you have to start thinking differently, whereas you can't stay in it too long. So even if you feel like off or a little bit of whatever that is, you just can't stay there long. You are allowed to let yourself feel something, because after all, we all are human beings. So You are allowed to be in your feels, have your feelings, feel it for a moment. But what I'm learning and what's been helping me this time is that I didn't stay there long. I sat there, felt what I felt for a minute, and then I had to get back going. And I am challenging myself and not always having to rely on someone else to light the fire under me to get me going. And that's one of those things that I used to struggle with, like revving myself up like I'm that car that needs that boost. But once I get going, I'm like, psh, I'm off to the races. So, but I am learning to change that. I am learning to change that. And I'm very proud to say that I still feel like I've done pretty good at getting back into the swing of things and stuff like that. And I'm still a work in progress, but I'm here. Whether, my the people that was here, as much as people that was here on my lives because they could count on every Sunday me showing up at 6 o'clock and all that. But that's okay because I'm willing to go through it all. I'm willing to go through it all. I'm willing to build that back up, and then whenever it's time for that to show up, it can show up. Even if you are not here present on the live and you don't catch it, you can catch it in the replay. I don't mind, okay? However you see it, and whoever, like always say, whoever is meant to be here to get this message will be here. And if not, then maybe it's not for that person at that point in time. But this is real. This is real life. This is very relevant. So even today, I had, and as a matter of fact, I could have used that as an excuse to not do something because I actually had a client today. I actually was up to 2 o'clock in the morning finishing my own hair, super tired this morning because I had to get my butt right on up and get to my client. So I got my client, finished up with her, did all that other kind of stuff, had to clean up my space, do all the things. But guess what? I knew I had to get ready for this YouTube video. So I took a little nap in between, but I got to it after that. And I'm like, okay, I may not have even prepped as much as I usually would like to, but guess what? A part of me getting my momentum back is getting my butt up here, whether it is perfect or not. Okay? Because we keep it real around here. All right? So the main thing is me showing up, and that's what I'm doing. So there you have it on that part. So, and remember that question, guys. Make sure you put that in the description, in the comments. What are you currently doing, having difficulties with, and what are you doing about that? I mean, and what's one of your biggest challenges? Because I know I can't be the only one. I know I can't be the only one. Okay. So, okay. So we're talking about staying consistent with my goals. So the main thing for me wanting to stay consistent with this goal is that I really want to take this channel on and forward. Like no matter what goes on or whatever is happening, I genuinely really enjoy this channel and enjoy doing it. So this is something I'm going to continue to do. I won't say that it doesn't matter like who comes or who don't or whatever, but this is something that I do plan to continue. And as time goes on, the channel is going to transition. Okay. Hey, Carolyn. I love seeing what about Carolyn? You one of my OGs. Greetings, Carolyn. You the OG in here, Carolyn. Thank you for always showing up. Thank you for always showing up. Carolyn, what I'm talking about is, just keeping up my momentum, getting my momentum back after setbacks. Okay. And kind of, you know, people don't understand, just like I was trying to say, people don't understand like what it takes. Oh, you just got your notification. You know what? I wonder what's going on with that. I don't know, but you said you're in California, right? But that shouldn't matter, right? That shouldn't matter that you're in California. Do you have your bell ringer on? Do you have your bell ringer on? Let me know if you have that on because I wonder if that's going on with other people. I wonder if I'm live. If are they just getting the notifications? Because I heard other content creators saying that that's been happening to them as well, where their family channel family is not getting notified when they're on. Okay, something's going on YouTube. Yes, I have my bell. No, yeah. It's something with YouTube. It's definitely something with YouTube because there's a lot of content create. And you know what? Sorry to say, but a lot of us are going through it because from the ones who I'm hearing it from, it's been us. Okay. And another thing too is these comments, yes, it's been us. And on the content creators that have like thousands of subscribers, like they're legit just not trying to let those people come on be notified because guess what? Attendance, comments, all that. And then you know what? And I want to see in this live if they keep my comments because you know the last two, zero showed up. Zero. Like of all them comments that was there, zero for my last two ones. So YouTube is really funny. They real funny with it. Okay. But anyways, so I'm just currently, I was just discussing currently, like, just where I am right now. Thank God you can see in the replay, Carolyn, I just did my retirement, honey. I got this done. I was up to 2 a.m. in the morning. And thank you, Jesus, because I'm going on a trip. So I needed to get this done. I got a lot of other things in between that I have to do, right? Let me get my love pillow. That's why I keep my love YouTube. Have a little love. That's why I keep my I keep anyways, I got a few things going on. Like I have to get back to different things. Okay, what counts that I have noticed on all my YouTube subscriptions. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know. They got some funny business going on. And I know that's a fact now because I used to hear a lot of YouTubers complaining about it, but I'm like, really? Are they now on my videos? I don't know if it's different with lives, if they're supposed to keep your comments with lives, but I know with my videos, I'm able to see my comments on my videos. But as far as the lives go, but the comments matter. So I don't know. I don't know, but I do know they playing some games. YouTube, y'all need to stop it now. Y'all need to be play fair. YouTube, it's something else. But anyways, we just getting back to me just coming on here and just fighting against that urge to be like when things are not all right and I won't say I don't want to keep that message up saying like when things aren't perfect because nothing's actually ever really perfect but at the same time you know how every once you can feel good and secure when you know you got everything going like your job and you got this and you got that in place. When you have all your things in place, everything runs smoothly. Your nervous system is more balanced out. You can be like, okay, this, and all that other kind of stuff. But how do you act under pressure? What happens under pressure? And how do you navigate these spaces of being like, okay, I created this, I have this. How do I pull myself up out of that to still do what I have to do? So in real time, this is what's happening. But what I'm noticing is a mind shift. So it is a different mind shift because for me, I was thinking in my mind, everything always has to be perfect. Like, oh, I gotta do it this way, I gotta do it that way, it has to be this and that. No. And go ahead and release yourself from thinking that everything's gotta be perfect because it's never gonna be perfect. Okay. So I had to be like, nope. We just gonna get up on here. We gonna keep it real like you always have, and then we gonna talk about things. You know what I'm saying? Some things might be they connect more with this, or something. I know I ain't the only one who's doing this, but my goal is to show up. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about. But at the same time, it's about working together as well. That means you telling me what you want to hear, what you want to know. Like what subscribers need to understand too, as content creators as well, you need to be able to listen to what your audience needs, but your audience also needs to make sure that they're participating. It's a two-way game. You know what I mean? Because if you want, that's just like any show. You know what I'm saying? They try to find out what that audience wants, and then they give it to them. So it's the same thing here, like, and after we've talked about a lot of different things, it's still like, okay, let me know what you want so I can give it to you. Help me help you. So it's kind of like, it's like a give and take like that. Okay, and the question that I posed, Carolyn, was, what is my question is, what's one goal you've been trying to stay consistent with lately, and what's been your biggest challenge? So, what is one of the goals, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, but it's just been a big challenge? Because that's me. My thing is, my goal right now, my biggest challenge right now is me trying to stay consistent on my channel despite what's going on. So learning how to navigate that. And like I said, one of the main things is me changing my mindset. That's actually been happening. It's like, no, 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 we gonna go on there tonight. We gonna work it out. And whatever it's gonna be, that's how it's gonna be. So that's one of the things. So let's move on with that. That was staying consistent with my goals. What's the next thing that I had wanted to so wellness and mindset, that all plays a part in it too. It all depends on how you feel, how you're doing, how you show up. And people need to understand, sometimes people will be down for a minute, or they may be in a depressive moment, like when things happen and your world changes. People go through that, y'all. Everybody is human. So that's another thing. So being wellness, make sure you drink your water, y'all. Keep your water, keep yourself, eat healthier, child, when you're going through all these things, so that you can have your mind straight and stress free. That's another thing too that's been helping me, is just being like, okay, let's just keep as much stress out your life as possible, and all that kind of stuff, so that I can show up and do all the things that I need to do and what I'm trying to do, but also don't overwhelm yourself. Okay, so I'm learning also too, like, okay, if you do this, this, and this, you might not be able to do this part. Okay, this, and this, and then you could do this, you could do that tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So, and not trying to do it all at one time. That's been my problem. I see something, I want to do it all, but guess what? And people are more forgiving than you think sometimes, because sometimes we make it up in our mind like it's so difficult, so this and so that. But all you have to do is just come to your audience and be real, and then you just let the chips fall where they may. Long as you know you're doing your best, you just go ahead and let the chips fall where they may. Okay. What's one of the other one? Thoughts on current trends. So I also wanted to try. I have my little handy dandy notes too, guys. So it's thoughts on current trends in the locker community. We talked a little bit about that in my live. The one, okay, Carolyn says, I'm going through letting go of things that no longer meet my goals. Yep. Okay. I understand that as well. And to follow up with that, Carolyn, letting go of things that no longer meet your goals, is that could be people, places, things that interfere with that. What about people that have like a household with a husband, kids, this and that? They're trying to do things. Everybody's situation is different, and that could affect you just as well. I knew someone that was very close. I'm not even gonna say, because they'll probably catch on. Somebody that was very close, that was trying to meet their goal. Really, she wasn't able to do what she really wanted to do in her life, in terms of, because she was a very goal oriented type of person, but she had her husband and her kids. And when she was trying to accomplish something, she started something she was trying to accomplish, but the husband would just like try to sabotage like that growth. And what it is that they could be scared, thinking that the person could go way above them, and then all of a sudden they leave, or it ain't the same, or whatever. But I know that for a fact, that literally, there's all kinds of different scenarios and situations that can impede your growth on what you're trying to do. And if you don't mind, do you have an example of the things you're trying to let go. It doesn't have to be personal, like super personal, anything like that. But like if you have an example, drop it, because you know what I'm saying. I mean, hey, everybody goes through it. I know this for a fact. Oh, it's getting hot, y'all. Let me, I'm in the 50s and I'm having hot flight. I'm gonna turn my fan on. Hold on a second. Drink some water real quick. So, just okay. So moving forward, we're gonna, just like the trends, like the last one, not last week, because I wasn't here last week because I was busy getting things in order, like my health insurance. You know, getting some other things back together, like what other ways to make money again, getting myself certified again for certain things, and applying for some different stuff. So last week I was really doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and certain things are situated, but I'm still even kind of like waiting on some last minute, some other things, even still going forward right now. But last week I was super inundated, like with putting everything back in place so that I can break the fall. So it does, there's always, it could be worse, but as long as you put things in place where you can be like, okay, I can still sustain myself here, then you'll be okay. It gets greater later. But like I was saying, like the week before last week, we were talking about like the trends, and actually it was my 11-year journey, the things that I liked and I didn't. And then before that, wait a minute, Carolyn said, I recently moved and holding on to clothes, furniture, etc., that had prevented me from downsizing into a senior apartment. Lots of memories that I have been holding on to. You know what? That is a very, very good point about clothes, holding on to the old furniture and clothes. And you know what? It's funny that you talked about that, because when I relocated here, and I'm actually trying to move when my lease is up this November. So that's something I'm about to be facing again, trying to move. But when I relocated here from another state here to this apartment, this is like a 1 bedroom apartment. I left a 2.5 bedroom apartment. Let me tell you something. I lived there for about 20 years, 21 years. I accumulated so much stuff that I didn't even realize it. But I'm not like a clutter person. I'm like a person that likes things kind of spread out, right? I didn't even see it. Like I didn't even see it. You will be shocked how much stuff and how many things you want to hold on to because of memories. But let me tell you something. It was different when I moved in this 1 bedroom, and it took me time because I had to give away so much stuff. I sold things as much as I could. I didn't want to get rid of that stuff. That's that. Listen, I know that's what happened, Carolyn. I did not want to get rid of that stuff. There was a lot of stuff that held a lot of sentimental memories. Or you want to hold cards, birthday cards, all kind of things. Oh, my grandmother gave me this picture. Oh, this. Like this was my mom's favorite vase. Like all those things. Trust me, been there, done that. And even in my closet, even though I gave away so much stuff and all that kind of stuff, it took a while for me to settle with those parting with that stuff. Listen, that bothered me for a while. It took some time to get used to, and I still got a couple of bins in my closet right now that still need to be cleared out. I still actually have a couple of bins that I still need to get rid of some stuff, but for the most part, I got rid of a lot of stuff. I got rid of a lot of stuff, but it took me a while to get used to that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And every now and then, I still be feeling memories of certain things that I don't have any longer. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to, but trust me, that stuff, I mean, when you have to part with sentimental things and stuff for people you loved and all that kind of stuff, that's not easy. That's not easy. So I understand. And it can affect you too. It can affect you. It'll stop you, like you said, from getting in that place, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so preventing me from downsizing into a scene. Look at that. That and the thing is, you have to do it, because if you don't, if you really don't, it's gonna stop you from things. It is will it those decisions will literally stop you from stuff. So that's very important. I'm glad you said that. And everybody, okay, Carol said my poor daughter had to help me to let go of things I had when my children were babies. You know what? Can I hold on? You did not just say that. Listen, guys, this is I'm gonna now I am going to expose myself real quick. Hold on one second. Look at this, y'all. Y'all look at this. My daughter is 34 years old. Don't have me go run get her baby. Well, you know we holding on to those pictures. I ain't never giving away her pictures. These are my daughter's first pair of shoes. She's 34. These are the first pair of shoes. And I said, I'm going to hold on to them because I'm going to bronze them. That's her first pair of shoes. These are her three first dresses in her life. I lost the bottoms to her Christmas dress. This was her first Christmas dress. She had the little red bottoms. I lost those, but I still held on to her first Christmas dress. This was the first dress she took a picture in when she came out the hospital. Our first professional picture. This was her dress. And this is when she turned 1 year old. This was her 1 year old dress where I had dressed her like Minnie Mouse. I still got it. I would not let these dresses go. And her first pair of shoes. And I was so mad when those bottoms got lost, them little red bottoms. I still keep them. Everywhere. Do you know how many times I moved and how many places? How in the world did I keep up with this? I don't know how because I lost so many other things, but not my daughter's dresses. Same. Yes, that's really, mom. I'm talking. I had her dolls. I had child. Let me get back on track. But this is real talk. This is how real talk go. That's why I can't also wait until I transition into my vlog because I really want to talk about real life stuff that we really do. I want to expand it out more. And we still gonna talk about hair, all that. We still gonna do that. But that's another thing too in me that I'm feeling I need to expand. I want to. That's what I'm feeling because I feel kind of boxed in. So I want to expand more because our lives are about a whole lot more than just hair. Although we love it, but it's still more than that. And that is what's coming in the future in terms. And we all have to stay innovative and creative and do different things. A lot of that is going to be based on my new equipment because, like I said, I need the space and all those kind of things. So it just won't even work if I tried it based on the stuff. Thank God for me being able to still come on here and go live with you guys. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm continuing to utilize the lives because at least I could do this. I could come on. Okay. Carol said, I thought my daughter would have a daughter, but she had a son. Oh, she had a son. Hey, my daughter doesn't have any yet. But I said, well, what I'm gonna. It's funny because I talked to her the other night about it, and I was all like, I gave her that it's her choice because I don't want to push her to feel like she gotta have a child because she's the one who have to deal with it. She's the one who would have to raise a child on her own, do all this, do that. Of course I would be there to help her, but it will be her child. You know what I'm saying? So although I would love a grandchild, I would love a grandchild, but ultimately it's up to her. And if she did have one in the future, so I don't know if that's coming or not for her. She's 34, but she still has time. I don't know if that's going to be in the future or whatever, but whatever it is, if she does decide to have one, and I would certainly be happy. I know that I would definitely, definitely be happy. Um, but any old ways, like I said, just to kind of like get back on that, I do want to eventually transition into the vlogging thing and then in some of my earlier videos, anyways, if you guys watch it, Carolyn said, "My son is the one who had the girls." Oh, okay, okay. Your son is the one who had the girls. It was like a mix in my family. Like I only got one, so I had the girl. My sister has a girl and a boy, so me and her the only girls. She has a sister. She has a son and a daughter. She got one of each, so she got lucky. Her daughter's the youngest. Her son's the oldest. So I kind of like it when it's like that. So he's really protector at 19. He's like 6, 7 playing football. This my nephew, I have to look up at him. He a big one. But he's out in college in Texas doing well. So that's great. So that's us. And then my brother over me, well, my brother under me, 3 boys. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. That's another thing. When you come in, please thumbs up the channel. My brother under me has 3 sons, and then and then me with the one daughter. My brother above me has one daughter, and then the brother above him has 2 sons and a daughter, and then my oldest brother doesn't have any. So it's funny how like, and sometimes the ones who need the girls, it's so funny how it's like they want something. It's like, no, God said you're gonna get that girl, okay? Because you need to learn something. You're gonna get that girl, okay? I wanted a son, but I like girls. So with me, it's not a big thing for me, like with the whole girls, because I actually loved like having my daughter and doing stuff with that because I'm more of a girly girl anyway. So like it didn't really bother me. Aside from sometimes, the girls can clash with you sometimes when they think they a little lady and all that kind of stuff as they start growing up. But I always did too want to have the experience of having a son. I think that would have been awesome. But I accept what the good Lord gave me. So I'm all good with that. Um, but like we said, just to do kind of like a recap, on like what we were talking about, what the trends and all that kind of stuff, like the last time of my 11-year journey. As far as me, when I noticed like kind of going through my retightening and stuff like that, like I said, I stayed up to 2 a.m. in the morning getting it done. But I noticed that I am combining more, like still combining some of them. It's still to the point where they are like still sister lock sizes, but I noticed that I am still combining, but I am liking the results of it. I'm liking the results of it. I kind of feel like my locks are stronger, and the biggest part that I like is I'm getting done with my retightening sooner because the locks, so I don't have to go through so. Listen, that to me has been like a game changer, having it where my locks, I'm able to get my retitements done quicker. So I am loving that for me. I am loving it. And I think anybody else who's a DIYer, raise your hand or put it down in the comments. I don't know if there's anybody else in here that's a DIY, honey, but let me tell you something. When it's a quicker retightening, it is, well, that's easier for everybody. I think everybody loves that. And I also, and maybe I'll do a thing on, I don't know. Okay, no, this is a question. This just popped in my mind. Whether you're a DIY or not, like, so I DIY, there's different challenges with us, meaning there's been, as a DIYer, it's like you go through different things. Like it's like, okay, for one, in the beginning, once you start to do it, it would still be good to take a class. I took the whole Sisterlocks class, so I still learned about that, because they do have a side class like where you can, if you just all you want to do is learn how to retighten your own locks or whatever, they do have a section, a portion of a class for that. But I ended up, you get the whole thing when you take that whole course. You're gonna get the whole thing. So I ended up learning it. But one thing is, even if you do learn it, it doesn't matter. Even if you learn it, you're gonna make mistakes. So that's another thing that people that choose to do the DIY, because I've heard like here and there some people, whether it's be like, oh, they like the price, or it's hurting, or what, I'm finding it hard to find a loctician that consistent or whatever like that. And these are all real things. Like all those things are real, right? That you're gonna have to deal with. And so some people, out of frustration, decides they want to do their own, and that's a great thing. That's fine. But like I would say, I would actually say You need to know yourself before you do that. And this is real. You need to know yourself before you decide to be a DIYer. Me, for a fact, I am a super passionate person about hair. Always have been since I was a little girl. Once I started learning hair, went to hair school, all that. I've been doing hair over 30 something years and still enjoy getting in someone's hair. So that's someone who has a passion about it. And even me, even a person like me, doing this stuff, and I still made mistakes because until you do this. Now, I used to do a lot of micro braids and all that other kind of stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is this part, and it's still like that. But this is different when you're using a tool. There is different when you're using a locking pattern than braiding. That is a whole different situation than actually doing that. And because the nature of these locks and because they're so small, you're right next to each other. So you gotta be like, you gotta have the right kind of tools. You gotta know right what you're doing. And even like the back, you have to learn a whole technique, meaning the front will be easier for you because you'll be able to look at the front, you'll be able to see all that. But when you get to the back, there's going to be a different method. You don't have someone standing in back of you doing that where they can see fully everything, which, by the way, is the best way to still do it. I still will say that it's still, in my mind, the best way to do it. To have ultimately someone behind you because they can clearly see what's going on. But you do eventually learn how to do it, but you're gonna have to have your mirror. So then now you're learning. I have like a big, tall, full body length mirror. You got your chairs. You'll figure it out. You got to have a space, or you may have to find some kind of space. Me, thank God, I can do it in my bathroom, but some people might be in a room, or you got to be in a place where it's well lit. Okay, you got to make sure you're going through and really separating spaces to get all those things done. It's more challenging when your locks are little, small, the tiniest sister locks you can have. And of course, you're going to do better if your locks are bigger. Not out of the sister lock range, but like your mediums or your large ones is going to be easier on you. And I now know that that's because of by combining, I'm more at a medium and large size sister locks now, space. So it allows me to get through that quicker. Um, and it's easier in terms of like having a stronger base. You're gonna be able to see results with that, with the stronger base. The only thing I'm trying to think. I still recommend that people, even at this late stage, I'm realizing to still band your hair. And I noticed that I was doing a little too much water. This is now I've come to the realization that because every morning I get up and refresh my hair with water, right? Like being like, oh, let me refresh it, this and that. Now, just having my hair, just the nature of the fact that I've had my locks for 10 years now, like going on 11 this September will be 11 years. But just with the nature of retightening for 11 years, all that other kind of stuff, they are going to still create some weak points because of how small the locks are. So the whole snapping and whatever, and then you add water into the mix, doing it every day. I'm still learning after all this time, after a decade. I'm still learning the do's and the don'ts of wearing this style. But it's okay because this is my first rodeo with this, and you learn at each stage of the game. Okay. So now what I'm learning is no, we're just focusing more in your scalp, like just spraying in your, like literally on your scalp, and then just doing your massages and learning to be gentle when you're washing your hair. Be gentle. Don't be, using the balls of your fingernails, your fingers, right? You're using the tips of your fingers. You're not in there scratching or none of that kind of stuff, because all of that's going to affect your locks. And now, as a result, I have a lot of, see now how I can just pull up a snap lock And look how long my hair is in the back. My hair was long like this in the front too. So now, in a lot of ways, my hair looked layered. I actually actually don't mind how it just kind of went into like a layered kind of look in a way. Because when I do my curls and stuff like that, I kind of, as opposed to just doing like all one straight thing, it snapping kind of brought my hair in kind of like a layered kind of look. And ultimately, I feel like what I'm gonna do is when that time comes, if I when I feel like, if I want to, cut them or whatever, I'm gonna end up doing like, we gonna go with that bob before I do anything else. And I don't know, honestly, if I'll get to that point where I don't wear Sisterlocks again. I mean, we'll get to the point where I don't wear them. But if it came to something like that, it would have to be that my hair is just like too severely damaged, or somehow, some way, I just could not manage to do it any longer. It would have to be something like that, or somehow if I had got, God forbid, sick or something, my hair fell out or something like that. That's the only way that right now that I could see that I would not, wear the style. Okay, so that's the whole DIY thing. If you're going to go that route, know that it's an option, because it is an option, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to get through it, because as the more you do it, the better you will go. Like they always say, practice makes perfect. So you will get better at it, but still don't think that mistakes still ain't even going to happen. Even it's just that it'll be less mistakes, and then you will start learning. Like I was like, okay, I learned I don't have to get it all done in one day. Okay, I don't have to, if I got something to do, I could just do this part. You just have to understand that if you decide to do it that way, so say if whereas you go get your retightening, you're gonna get your whole head done that same day. But when you're doing it yourself, it opens up your options where you could be like, oh, okay, I could just do the front today. I could wait till tomorrow to do my back, or I could do sections this and that. I could spread it across 2 days. Like, so I would say, like, if you have a week or something and you have things you got to do or whatever, and you wanted to be like, okay, I'll do this amount, like, because there was times where I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do 2 hours, I'm gonna dedicate 2 hours, I'm gonna dedicate 3 hours this day. However my time was available to me, I would do it, but I would keep it within a week time frame. Because if you do your front and say, okay, next week I'll do the back, you just have to understand that you're going to be on a different, your front is going to be on a different schedule than your back, if you understand that. Like, so if you do this sooner, it's not gonna all just be all grown at one time if you do utilize that option. So you'll just have to get used to that. And I've gotten used to that, where it's like, oh, okay, I might have to just be like, oh, okay, I have to get my front done because my front doesn't grow out faster than my back because I waited to do my back later or whatever that is. So you'll learn the nuances when you become a DIYer. I should have just did a whole video on that, because there is some nuances to that, being a DIYer. It's not just like clear cut like that once you do it. Although it's a great option, but there is things you got to get used to when you are doing that. Okay. So that's that on the whole DIY. And of course, taking the time out to go get it done. That's always love. That's a part of self-care. And when I was going to someone getting my hair done, believe you me, I appreciated having someone doing my hair. And believe you me, if I really kind of just had it like that, or it was like feasible or very comfortable for me to do that, I would be doing that now, because there are still sometimes that I do not feel like doing my hair. Okay. So DIYers go through that too. There are times when you don't feel like doing your hair, and that's why you procrastinate and you wait. Okay. And then you got to be like me, stand up to 2 in the morning to get it done because you got a trip that you're trying to make. Okay. Okay. So keep that in mind, people. All right. So we talked about yeah, some of the things about, like, some of the things you go through after your 11 years of trials and tribulations, and just different things I've learned over time. Just all that kind of stuff, like some things you shouldn't do, that what you would have done different or not. Part of that for me was like, I definitely would have I would have stuck to what Sisterlock suggested, meaning just the small in the front, medium, and the large, because now I ended up doing it anyways. But that's some of the things when I look back on that journey. I wish that I had done that. I wish I would have did a little bit more research, because it was a surprise how I didn't realize there wasn't one thing that I would do if I was people that are gonna get sister locks or whatever like that. If you are deciding to do that, make sure you check in your state. Literally go on the Sister Lock website, check in your state how many Sister Lock consultants are there, trainees or approved trainees, and then in your actual town or near you or this and that, because they're going to have all that listed, and that's going to let you know just how far you may have to go if someone's near you, you know how many, because it's going to let you know like how many options you have, because I didn't think about that. I didn't know that. I didn't think about at all, like, oh, okay, how many people do I have around me? And then my thinking was, oh, once I get with one loctician, I'm just going to stay with this loctician. And I think sometimes people just think that automatically, that you're going to just stay with this one loctician, but it doesn't work like that, because what if they do hurt your ear? What if you don't get along with this person? Or whatever, maybe their prices are too high for you, maybe they don't do a good job, like, there's a lot of times people don't think about all the things that can happen that would make you want to change to another loctician. But are you willing to travel 45 minutes? The next loctician might be 45 minutes or an hour away from you. So these are the things that you should know. So if you're deciding to do the stop, you need to do more homework on that too. Like, you can't just be like, just narrow think, oh, I just want mine, I'm just gonna find one but this is all the stuff that I have learned now since. And then once I kind of dived in the deep end, and then it's like, oh shoot, like, where do I don't spend all this money, where do I get a and it's not sometimes, people think it's gonna be like a kumbaya, all this is like, da, da, da. And a lot of people be like surprised that it ain't so like just all kumbaya, sister like family like that, because it's not all like that. You personally have to create like your connections and all that kind of stuff with like locticians and other people, stuff like that. Like, you are going to be responsible for kind of like creating that, because they're not going to do it. The locticians are not going to do it. It's going to be up to you to be like, okay, let me stop. And this is another thing that I would say to people. I don't think a lot of people like really think about, or you should not just have just one, you should have a backup. You should, and I know a lot of people don't even talk about that, like having a backup loctician. There is going to come a time where that person may be sick, or this is and that, or whatever is going on, and you will need, or at least you need to know of, check out a couple of people, even if you call a few other ones and say, hey, what's your schedule like? How many clients do you have? Are you accepting like other clients? How do you feel about like people like kind of popping in if they happen to need your services, and stuff like that? Because that's real. There's a lot of clients. Do you know how many clients I've done like that? I have had the lady that I used to go to, she sends me a lot of her clients, like for days she's sick or she can't get to them, or whatever happens. I have done like a lot of clients like that. So I kind of feel like to alleviate that, in a lot of a good loctician too, she's going to have alternatives for you. She will, that's something that also she actually will have set up. And that's something that you can, as a matter of fact, that's what you could do too. You could ask your loctician, like, hey, in the event that you can't do my hair for whatever reason, you get sick or whatever have you, do you have a reliable person that can fill in for you? And I don't even know if a lot of people ask their locticians that. I didn't, but usually they should have that, or know how you can get to someone even if they don't have someone that they feel comfortable with, because some people also too, they're not going to just send you. I know I wouldn't want to send my clients to just anybody. I would want to make sure whoever I'm sending my client to, that they can replicate what I do, or they are solid just as well, because I'm, you know what I mean, because then that also too, you got to think about that, that reflects on you. if you send somebody somewhere and then they get a bad job done with their hair. So that's another thing that you want to think about too. But you can also too, you can ask your loctician that, but you can also do your own due diligence and research to be like, let me at least kind of gather some names. All you have to do is go on sisterlock.com. All of it's there, all the states and everybody and where they're located. And so you can just have that just as a backup for yourself. You don't have to just call them right away, but just have that so that just in an event that you need to. And sometimes people have had situations where, you know, they've had situations where they couldn't get back with their locticians. Like, you know, I've heard that too. So you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence with this as well. And there is not as many excuse me, there is not as many locticians out here as people think. There's not like it, because even in my town, there's like I think it's three of us in the whole town, and for a long time, it was just it was no, it wasn't me. It was like because I think there was another girl. There was another girl here before I got here. Yeah, there was one. I think she was the only girl, and then when I got here, I was the second one, and then there was a girl that I started doing, and then she became a loctician here. So literally, and then the first one left and moved to another part of North Carolina. So now, as far as I know, there's only two: me and one other girl. So imagine that two people and just a whole town, just two people that do it. So even though Sister Lock has grown and spread out to all of these different states, there are not a lot of locticians around, you guys. Okay. And how and let me know if you guys have found that. Like how many people have you had to go through your journey? How many locticians have you had to go through your journey? And if you are with someone now, how long have you been with them? Okay, because that's a real thing. I know for me, I think I went through. Let me see. There was. Let me see. I think I may have been through like six people, six, seven. And then ended up I think I've been through like I actually had like maybe seven different people on my head throughout my journey, about maybe seven. And then me coming in myself doing, you know, taking over. So I've been doing my hair now for about a good 3 years, I think. I think I've been doing my hair for about a good three, if not longer, but definitely three for sure. Yep, about three for sure. So you gotta, so guys, that's a lot. You know, it's this is a, you know, it's something else. I'll tell you what, if you find somebody good, stick with them. That's my recommendation. If you find somebody good, try to stick with them. Now, I wanted to actually kind of include, there's a couple of articles too that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'll be posting them in my I'm gonna also post some of these in my community area, guys, in case you guys anybody want to go over there and go view them. Okay, it's up. Hey there, I'm about 2.5 years in, and thank God I'm still with the person that started my. Let me tell you something, honey. Well, welcome. It's up. Let me tell you something. You are lucky. You are lucky. And if you're there, three for okay, oh, okay, rooted by soul. Oh, rooted by soul. Three from the year by 3 years. What was the move to another straight? Okay, rooted by soul. Okay, is that my girl? But you know what? Stay if you have someone that is that works for you, if they're professional, if they're good, if you're comfortable at their house. Oh, hey Tina, welcome to the live. I hope y'all give me a thumbs up, Tina. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. I'll tell you, and I'm glad to have you as a client, and hopefully you still feel the same. You feel the same about me and my services and all that stuff because the main thing is I aim to be professional. Okay, okay, good. Well, my that's my goal is to be professional and to make sure I always say that the whole reason why I even got into this industry and I wanted to become a hairdresser because I was getting tired of the unprofessionalism and I just wasn't I was like people are paying their money, people are working hard to come and get their hair done. This is a self-care thing. Oh, Rudy Russell said, "Love you, don't let me go." Oh, I won't. Trust me, honey. I need you as much as you need me. It's all good as long as I'm here. You don't got to worry about a thing as long as I'm here. But one thing for sure is that I always said I wanted to be the hairdresser that I always wanted. You know what I mean? Because I looked at but I've seen both sides of it though. I've seen people that, and I watched it. So I've seen people that were like impeccable, that, just ran a really professional, great service, the way that they kept their establishment, the way they treated their clients, just all of the things. And I wish that you do the best of what you can. I know before I moved down here in my other place, I had the my daughter's room because she had moved out, and I had turned her whole room into my hairdresser's room. Oh, I was in heaven because I had my little refrigerator in there. I kept my waters, I kept mints in there. I had my shelf with all my products. I had decked it out with the rug. I had my like pictures, my hair pictures on the wall, all kind of things. Let me show y'all this picture I got online that it is so nice, guys. Hold on. I gotta get a new frame for it, but this was one of mine that I had on the wall that I just love this picture. Tina seen this picture. Look at this, y'all. Look at that picture, honey. Tell me this ain't nice. Okay, tell me that ain't us. Tell me, and this is by a black artist. This is by a and it's called Extensions. It's called Extensions by Annie Lee and Friends Art Gallery, Glenwood, Illinois. I love this. Isn't this a nice? And I need to. I'm just keeping it in here for now, but I got to get this framed. I want this framed in a nice. I got to get that framed. I found that if I find the thank you, if I find the link to that, because I thank you, they're that cute. Tell me that is not the black experience. That picture, tell me. I had that. Oh man, when I saw that, I got that on Amazon. I wish I had the link or whatever to it because I think whoever else, but that was like the perfect picture. And so, but I had the space for it, and then I had just other stuff up in there. I bought my and of course, guys, excuse me, y'all. Daggone well, when I saw this, and I could not believe Barbie made this. Y'all know I had to get Madam C.J. Walker. I had to get Madam C.J. Walker. So the first black millionaire hairdresser play had to get her too. So this is the stuff like I was like in love. Isn't that nice? Is it Madam CJ Walker? Thank you. I was like, so these are I am a real hair girl. Thank you guys. I love stuff like that. So I miss having that hair room so bad. Like if I had another space to do that, so maybe when I try to move in, like the end of the year, that I'm able to get me a 2 bedroom so I can just create my room again. I loved my hairdresser's room. That's like me being in a candy store because I love it. I love it. I love it. So after all these years, I still love the hair stuff and I love just creating the space. And like I said, I always wanted to be, I'm like, I want to just create, I want to be a good hairdresser, like a cosmetologist. I want to dispel that myth. But like I said, again, I was able to see both sides. I went to salons that did it very, very well. And then I went to salons that I felt could do it way better. So I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. So I just combined the best of both worlds. Like, oh, okay, this is how I knew inside I always wanted to be the professional and and do it the right way. I knew I didn't have the type of attitude not to act like, like let's say on the not so great side, you can't treat your clients like you don't need them too. And I don't care. You can all, as I said, you can always move to Indiana. I could use a second style. Girl, I know it. Listen, you'll be happy with me too, girl. Listen, if I can find me a way and get me a good job, child, I might consider it. And anyways, Indiana, that's so different. I've never known anyone from Indiana in my life. How is it out there? How is Indiana? Is there a lot of black people there? Like, let me I don't want to sound ignorant, child, but that's just like when people ask me when I lived in Boston down here, they're like, "You lived in Boston with a lot of black people there?" There's a bunch of black people in Boston, okay? But when you've never been somewhere or ever met like a black person, I don't know what I thought would be in Indiana, but yeah, I don't know. Enlighten us because probably a lot of people here may not know either. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I knew I didn't want the gossip in my shop or like where I'm at, talking on the phone, what not dedicating my time to my client, like making sure this is their time when they came and that they got what they need. I wanted to make sure a client could always tell me when they whether happy with something or they have a question about something. You should feel comfortable to ask the person that's doing your hair, even if it's like, oh, this is hurting or this is this or this is that. A client should be able to tell that to you without you getting upset. And you should be willing to work with them to resolve that issue. And guess what? Part of that might be you might have to get some money back. Like if they're not satisfied with what you have done or whatever that is. So I was like, oh no, I definitely don't want this. But it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, as I said, oh, definitely a lot of black, especially Indianapolis, is gotten a little crazy over the last few years. Oh wow. Do they have like and you know what? This is something I'm sure I know. I know that you got your more affluent areas, and then you might have your hood areas, right? Or places that's like, okay, you don't want to live over here now because you live over here. Is there a lot of like violence in some of them areas? When I be calling back home, it's like I'm in such a different space now. Listen what's true, right? Since moving, now I'm in the South. It doesn't mean like things don't happen in places down here because they do. Like, cause you got your certain areas down here that if you live in them certain areas, it pops off. But it's still a lot less. Or maybe because it's just not around me. I really realize, and a lot of times when you're in that, like when you live in those environments and you in that, your system adjusts to that craziness. When I got down here, and it was because it was so quiet, and I was so used to so much noise, so much hearing crazy stuff on the news. Somebody got shot. Oh, over here. This. I was so used to hearing that sirens, police cars, all this old crazy stuff that it felt uncomfortable being in the quiet. I felt uncomfortable. Me and the dog. Even the dog was uncomfortable. Okay, we were like, "Damn, man, it's too quiet down here." And I actually was having, what do you call it? Withdrawals, where I literally listen how crazy this is. I was missing home, and of course it was family and all that. It says, yeah, it's up said yes, especially the east side of town, but some cities, like most states, have good surrounding areas for sure. Okay, yeah, okay, I understand that. I couldn't wait to run back up there. Do you know it took me a couple of times to run back to the foolishness before I got used to some damn peace? that really lets you know just how our nervous system can be jacked up. Like, and now, because I used to be like, why are people down south are so like kind of slower and calm? They just be, they'll hurry up for nothing. They just be like, and guess what? I understand now. It took me to actually come down here and regulate my daggone system for me to finally be like, oh my God, this is what peace feels like. Whoa. The last time I went up there, it was like 2 years ago. I had went to this event that actually Michael Bivins gave because he actually the New Edition. I grew up with them actually. I know them personally. So the guy that lived next door to me, it was Michael Bivins' coach, basketball coach, and my uncle's basketball coach. So my uncle had they both played on a basketball team together. So I had to go pick up they were honoring them, like especially the people who weren't here anymore. My uncle passed, but I had to pick up a family member like they had did plaques for them. So I had went up there to get the plaque and Michael Bivins put on the basketball game. And so we were there, having a good time and all that kind of stuff. But don't you know, before that game ended, I could just tell in the air that things was about to pop off and that it was going crazy. Once I smelled the weed in the air and the brothers posturing, looking at each other crazy, and I was like, it is time to go. And no sooner than I left, I had got a call from the guy that brought me there. Was like, girl, don't you know everybody after you left about maybe 15 minutes, they was running down the street. They like, oh, good. They just start. It was just, I couldn't wait to get home. I am so glad I don't live here. Like that same feeling came right back to me as soon as I got there, being like, oh my God, let me take my watch off. Who's these? I changed. That nervous system changed, y'all. You will be like, so now you can't pay me to go back to that. Like it's like once you get past, because it feels a whole lot better when your nervous system is more calm. And it's crazy how when you just in it, you know, that's just how it is. And I know some people, it's like, hey, like I got some family members in New York and they just like, I'm in New York till I die. Like, they just, that city people. I still love, like, I grew up in the city. I always have love for Boston, being there. I grew up there all my life. Like, so I'll still have love for it. But, and I'll still even probably still visit. But as far as like that, the fast pace now at my age, Fabulous 50 Club, y'all. I think I've had enough excitement, and I still like to go do nice fun things, but just different in a different way. I might want to go on that cruise or at the lounge or something else. So my fun is, you know what, Chad? Don't be stealing my model up in here. Is up. When you know better, you do better. That's right. That's right. I say that a lot. When you know better, you do better. That is so true. And another one I'm gonna give you guys. If you want something that you never had, you're gonna have to do something that you never did. Okay. So if you want to, what did Gandhi say? Be the wait a minute. What does he say? Be the example that you want to see in the world or something like that. Be the example that you want to see in the world or whatever. So the only way you're gonna get something different is if you do something different. And then, like how they always say, what's that? What is that, y'all? Tell me that one when they say the thing of insanity is doing the thing. What's the exact phrase when they say the one of insanity is when you doing the same thing over or whatever. Like, what's that actual phrase that they say with that when you keep doing the same daggone thing and thinking it's gonna change? All right. So we, it's a vanity is doing the same thing over expecting a different result or something like that. Vanity, or they're saying, oh, insanity. It right. It's insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result, like something like that. Yeah, it's like that. You're not going to get a different result doing the same thing. And even sometimes too, even though I never thought in my mind that I would never, like, I know, especially as you get older too, because I made this move. Wait a minute, how hard am I now? I'm 56. I made this move 5 years ago. So I moved down here at 51. I don't have no family here. I do have a distant cousin in Raleigh. I have a cousin. I have a cousin because it's my father's nephew's daughter. So she, but I only knew her at family reunions, her and her son. So we would see each other every 2 years at family reunions. So we did get to know each other. And the only reason why I knew this was her hometown because we shared a page, and she was like, "Are you in my hometown?" I'm all like, "What you talking about? You live down here?" She was like, "Yeah, girl, I was born and raised here." And that's how I realized she was here. So, and we kind of kept in touch a little bit and whatever, but we didn't grow up together. So that connection's not there. I have a friend too. Her brother moved down here, and I know them. But for the most part, I ain't got no family here. But it'll force you to grow when you finally doing something different. When you move from around, when you get tired of things and you want a different life, you gotta make different steps. And even though it's not gonna be easy, it's not gonna be smooth. The ride might be a little bumpy, but you still will grow. That's 100%. You can do it. And now, since I did this, once you realize, I was like, oh wow, I was able to do it because it was so scary. Like I did it scared. I was scared as hell, but I did it scared. Um, but you're gonna learn. And then it allowed me to know, like, wow, I could do this again. Like, I actually could move to Indiana, girl, and figure it out. Like, I know now what steps that I would need to do to sustain myself in a whole nother state. And like, okay, you just need to know, and like, in the things that you should do to set yourself up. So me doing this, learning from mistakes and things or whatever, and all that I've learned, and even further because I want to do international travel, like more towards retirement time, because I'm thinking of that too. So, but I'm like, wow, that's another different step that I never took. I've traveled international to Jamaica or whatever, but still, like, I want to go to Thailand. I want to see Vietnam. If y'all see, there's a lot of people doing those over trips now out there and stuff like that. What are they doing out there? A lot of people, and I was thinking about it too. I was like, what if I went out there? What would the hair scene look like? But I actually, am subscribed to a lot of channels of people that's out there. And then I was so shocked at how many actually people have locks out there that's living in Thailand. But I'm all like, okay, I guess how can you, and it's being kept up. And I have, and they were showing that these Thai people know how to braid, take care of locks, like these people from Thai. Like they actually let me see. It's upset. Be careful going international with the way this crazy world's right now. No, I get exactly what you mean. I understand exactly what you mean. There's a lot of, you definitely have to do your due diligence, and you do have to be careful and know the places. Oh, trust me, I have been like, with me even considering this is how come I've reached out to people out there like that like connections. Like I ain't no willy-nilly person by no doggy that twisted, because I definitely make sure I do my research, especially something like that. I wouldn't just go out there, and preferably I was looking for like a group thing, like not just me solo dolo, just all rolling. I would never do something like that. Like I would definitely make sure I connected, because it's like I'm on these people's channels. Some of them, to support themselves out there, they've created their channels, and some of them have created like travel things, so that if a person wanted to go out there, they literally like do zooms with you. They pick you up from the airport, like, okay, get you to where you're going. Like, so that's how some of them like sustain themselves with some of the things that they created. So I would never just roll out there. And then also too, they were saying that Thailand is a very safe space for women, a lot of Black women. And I've watched tons. Like I have watched a lot of videos of a lot of different families that are out there. Like currently, like there's a lot of Black places out there. They have a Black restaurant. This guy opened Culture out there. I think he's in not in Phuket. There's Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai. I think he's in Chiang Mai, whatever. But there's a lot of different things happening out there. So trust me, but thank you. I appreciate that for sure. And you're right. You do have to be careful. There's a lot of stuff going on with how this world is rolling. So I'm definitely keeping that in mind. And then I'm not talking about for like a couple of years, preferably if in a perfect world, when these folks are out of office. Okay. And we get some stability back around things. So I hear you though, but I was surprised when I was like watching some of these videos how many lock wearers are out there in Thailand. Like how many lock, of course they're, folks like us, but there's a lot of them out there, and the women and guys. But I'm like, but then again, a lot of them are coming from the States. Yeah, yep. A lot of them are coming from the States, so I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense because a lot of them, had their locks and went out there, so it would make sense. But I guess what really surprised me was the fact that those Thai people started learning how to do our hair, and because I'm seeing their hair done very neatly and nice, I'm like, and then they were saying, they were like, well, who keep up your locks? And da da da. They was like, oh, the Thai shops. And I'm sure you might have a few black people out there because I think they were saying something about a black woman did set up like a braiding shop or something out there, and she was doing locks and braiding, but I don't know if it's a whole like a lot of it. So, but they getting it done. So I always try to keep a lookout for stuff like that too, like to be like, oh, okay. And another thing, if you even considering doing a big move like that, because that's a huge move. Like I said, that's different from moving from state to state. I mean, from it within your state, then state to state, which was new for me, then states to international. That's different because now you're dealing with visas, you need to know what's going on, the safety aspect of it. You need to know what you're doing. Okay, moving internationally, especially like you said with the political environment, you definitely better know what you're doing. So I definitely get that. Um, yeah, so a lot of, so just to these articles I was saying, and I also did want to like talk about the young folks. So we do, because like I said, a lot of people, we're not getting the we don't really talk much about like the young people. I don't know if they have their like little platforms where they talk about it or whatever, but in some of these articles and blogs that I was reading, what I found interesting about the younger people, like they were saying that it's not about the older crowd because wait a minute, hold on. It says good. Okay, so five modern day micro locks and sister lock creators to follow in 2024. Almalock Beauty, a group roundup of younger. Also, this so a group roundup, a good roundup of younger new voices in the lock community, both microlocks and sister locks, which shows how the aesthetics and cultural norms are shifting. Locks are no longer just for older generations. The continuation of that shift, a curated list of active modern creators posting about lock hairstyling and lived experience in 2025. But what they were saying was that the younger ones, now there's been like this big growth of young people wearing locks. And I can say that that is very true, even though we don't talk about them, but that's true because I see it here, especially here in the South, way more than even the East Coast. But if you go, because they are, it's deep down in the South how they wear locks. Like, there's a lot of people that wear locks, girls and guys down here. But up in the East Coast, the main place you'll find it is, because I was in the Boston area, but you'll find it, it's growing now because Boston hardly had none when I was like, they hardly had none. Although it did grow before I left, there was more I would see, but still not like a whole bunch like as in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is a very cultured Black place where you'll see a whole lot more lock wearers in Washington. I've noticed. I'm trying to think like I would say probably maybe New York. Even though I visited New York a lot, but I wasn't like really paying attention to their hair at that time, like in New York. But I suppose with all those boroughs and how big the boroughs are, they gotta be a lot of lock wearers in New York. It has to be. But I know for sure Washington, Boston is growing. Still not as big as nowhere near as Washington or New York or anything like that. But I'm trying to think of, or maybe Philadelphia. Philly probably got a lot of lockwares in Philly. Um, and I don't know about Jersey, maybe New Jersey too. New Jersey might have a lot of it probably possibly Connecticut too. I'm not sure. And if anybody here on the channel that's in any of those East Coast states, let me know. Let me know how many is there like a big like I don't know, growth of sister locks or even lock wearers up in the East Coast. I know Boston's just a little bit different. They're more kind of, I don't know, it took a minute to kind of catch on in Boston. Like, it's there, it's grown, but they still they still into like, the different aesthetics and stuff like that. So that and another thing with the young people too, another thing that they were saying, although and just like anything with that with them, um um they will get it, but they're not like dedicated to it. Like they don't, like if they feel like they just want to take it out and pull it out, they just gonna do it. Like so they're not kind of like the last bit like of our generation, like how we held on to the job for 30, 40 years and all this other kind of stuff. And that even with our styles, I still kind of had that mentality of just like kind of holding on to my style, but not with the younger people. The younger people might put that in and be like tired of it in a year, but like I took that out. My daughter just combed out her locks. She's 34. So she's like in that like midway. She's not like super, super young, but she's not like where we are. Like she just like was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna comb out my locks. I'm like, you are? She was all like, yeah. I'm like, why? She was like, I just want something different. I'm just ready to comb it out. And I was like, okay. And then before I knew it, the next week she had combed them things out. Like but she didn't have a sister lock. She had traditional locks, and she must have had hers for like about, I don't know, she may have worn them for about 4 years or something like that. And then one day she just decided she didn't want them no more. She combed them out. So the younger crowd, so that's exactly what they were talking about too. Whereas the younger crowd, they don't just like hold on to stuff like that. Like they'll this style. But then again, I kind of feel like when I was younger too, I changed up styles all the time too. I did this. I did the same thing. I always changed up styles. So I kind of just feel like with younger generations, that's just kind of how it is. Like with the younger generation, they're just going to change up. So they was just like putting that out there. It's an increase in that style. I think they kind of looked at that for like kind of older people or maybe a certain subset of people like your Rastafarians, or because I know growing up, we definitely wasn't wearing no locks. Me and none of my friends wore locks when we were younger. Like none of us had locks. There was like a few guys, like a few random dudes that had locks, but none of us wore locks. We always thought locks was for Jamaicans. Like we was like, oh, those are like the Jamaican guys wear those. Like, because those would be the ones we saw wearing them the most. It would always be, we would go to the Jamaican festivals. If it was a Jamaican guy or someone from the islands, a lot of them wore locks. So we related that like as their style. It wasn't until we got older that a lot more of just like American blacks in Boston started to, put the locks in and stuff like that. Okay. So and just let me know. I don't know if that was around how you guys did it. Did you all just associate locks with like Caribbean people or Jamaicans? Let me know if you did that, because that's how we did when we grew up. We related that to the like Caribbean people and Jamaican people. Um, so there's a couple of recent and noteworthy blog and articles, and these are like from 20. These are like from 2024 to 2025, and it's just saying different things. Like, and I'll post it in my community section, so you guys will be able to go ahead and view that at any time you want. And this is just things like the micro locks versus sister locks, a real guide to choosing your perfect style in 2025 by JC Naturals, choosing between sister locks versus micro locks, pros, cons, and tips. Ho Ho Dreads 2025, Michael Locks and Me, 5 modern day Michael Locks and Sisterlock creators to follow, and then 5 Michael Locks and Sisterlocks influencers you need to follow in 2025. So this is gonna be just for information purposes and just kind of how people are looking at things, how they seeing the pros and cons, the Sisterlocks versus Microlocks. There's like a lot of conversation surrounding that these days in our lock community. So it's just some good things to know. And as people are in different phases in their lock journeys, because I know a little bit of kind of all sides. I've known some people who, love the sister locks. I've known people who wanted to I've known some people who had to transition over to micro locks. Some people wanted to try the knotted locks, or whatever the reason is. Everybody have different situations. It could be monetary, that they switch over. It could be different lifestyles. It's just all kind of different reasons why people, do stuff and all that other kind of stuff. So, it's just information. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that we get that over there in the community. I'm gonna put that over there in the community post so you guys can look at that at any time. So basically, that's pretty much we've been on here an hour and 35 minutes. Yay! Hold on, wait a minute. We gonna do a little celebration for that now. And thank God, YouTube. I had to go and erase some stuff, child, because usually I'm surprised. Let me not speak too soon because Lord, I do not want them messing with my channel. Okay, because usually I start getting that stalling stuff after an hour. So let me not call that into existence. But I'm thankful and grateful for this time. And that is pretty much, all I have today for this live, unless anybody else has any more questions or anything. And as always, guys, if there's anything that you want to know, a Q&A, if you ever want me to ask certain things, you can always just put that below. Just throw some ideas. You can send messages and I'll always get them, whether it's there in the community side of things. I'll be able to get those things. And again, I want to thank, any new Lockstar members. I see there was like one or two. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining the family. I always appreciate everybody who joins over here and all of my Lockstars that come back. So I definitely love you guys for always showing up. Thank you for being, patient with me, hanging in there like my OG up in here, Carolyn Shepherd, y'all. We gonna have to just get her. She's the OG up in here. She's been with me from the beginning, and I really do appreciate her. She always shows up every time if she can catch me online. And Carolyn, I just want to say I really, really appreciate you for that, and all of you guys, and some of the new people. Like it's up. This is you maybe you've been watching, but this is the first time I seen your name is up. And thank you for chiming in, Rooted by Soul too. That's one of my clients. Thank you for being here with us tonight as well. And like I said, everybody who's meant to be here, that's the way that I look at it. If it's one, if it's 10, if it's 5, I just happy for anyone who is here. And for those who can't catch me, I have a couple of lock stars in the UK, especially for Lock's sake. Hey, for Lock's sake, that's one of my UK girls, my little London girls. And when I come there, I'm gonna come see you too, because I still gonna do that London trip. Me and my daughter want to come visit London, so we're gonna definitely look you up when we get there. And I'm sure she's on different time zones, so she sees this at a different time, and I know she chimes in a lot. So that's one of my girls too. But anyways, like they always say, like, share, subscribe, share this channel with people. And like I said, my future thing, I am eventually going to go into vlogging style. Once I get my stuff together, and we're gonna just transition into that. And until that happens, I'll come on my lives. And then I'll try to throw a little video up here and there if I can do it with these phones. I'm probably gonna have to buy more data for that, but we gonna figure it all out, guys. Everything costs money, but we go. figure it all out. But thank you guys so much for taking out your time to come be on the live with me, guys. And I will definitely get back in, get my behind revved up to get back in here on Sunday. Okay. All right. With that said, as always, Sharon is Karen, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.